Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4 FAP links you could ever need, all in one place. You can provide feedback, listen, support, share, enjoy these. We have our Patreon there. You can buy us a beer or a coffee. You can check out our Instagrams, our Twitters, our Facebooks. Check out our YouTube page. You can email us. You can listen to our podcasts on Patreon, if you're a subscriber, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, on Podbean. We have Google Podcasts on there. We have an Amazon wish list. You want to buy Kyle and I something? Fine. You can do that here. We appreciate it. We have Kyle's RPG podcast listed on there, so you can check out his Dork Day Afternoon offerings. We have Cowabunga links, so you can check out the Cowabunga Deep Discount FOC and pre-order list. Get on that. That's RLCS, so you can check that out as well. And we want to just give you opportunities to say hi, to check out what we're doing, support us if you would like, or just listen. Check out beacons.ai/comicsfunprofit for all the C4 FAP links you could ever need. Thanks. Back to the show.
Aloha! It's Jason from Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. In this episode, I will be talking to comic book writer, artist, actor, screenwriter, director Austin Janowsky.
Nice job.
Austin, I'm sorry, did I pronounce that?
Yeah, you did it perfectly, yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask, do you want to add anything to that? Are you a singer? Are you a dancer?
Oh, my goodness, I think that's quite enough. That's a heavy list.
All right. Now, he is here to promote his latest Kickstarter campaign, A Killer and the Dead. Now, when you hear this interview, the campaign is live. I have already backed this Kickstarter, and the campaign ends on August 29th. Austin, welcome to the Comics for Fun and Profit podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much. I feel welcomed, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Now, I want to just go over some of Austin's previous works. You know, he has worked in the comic book industry for the last 30 years. He has worked at Marvel, IDW, Dynamite Comics, just to name a few. And he has worked as an actor in film and TV for, shows or movies on Netflix, Amazon, CW, and Apple Plus. Now, here's some of the works that he's done in comics. Stanley the Snowman from Scout Comics. Divine Retribution, the director's cut, that's through Second Sight Publishing. Now, for movies, he was in movies such as The Haunting of Julia Fewles. He played a character named Sam Wells that came out in 2013. He was also in a Hallmark channel movie, The Soulmate Search. His role was when I looked that up, you played an agent. Or was there a name to your character?
It was Agent Jones, but in the credits it's just Agent.
Oh, okay, all right. Now that movie came out in 2023. And he also directed A Killer and the Dead that came out. Now, correct me if I'm Austin. Please feel free to correct me on this. Sure. Now, A Killer and the Dead, is it a short film that you did, or is it a feature film?
So what we did was it's funny. It started as kind of like a small short film challenge. And while we were fleshing out the idea, I thought it'd be really interesting to do a cool feature film of it because that's, doing the actual storyline. So it's more of a proof of concept, short film than anything else.
Oh, okay. And then correct me if I'm wrong, and like I said, when I was trying to do research, I know it won an award. I couldn't find the name of the award. Yeah. So.
Oh, it's great. So we've won Best Horror Short, Best Horror Film. Michaela Caine won Best Leading Actress for a bunch of the different festivals that we've been in so far. The festival circuit is literally just ending. I think our last one was about a week ago. Okay.
All right. And then listeners, we're going to talk a little bit more about the film and also the comic too, a little bit later on in the interview. One I also want to mention too is Austin will be co-starring in an Apple Plus TV show called Bad Monkey. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's a new series called Bad Monkey starring Vince Vaughn. It's debuting August the 14th. Excuse me, they're dropping the first 2 episodes. think my first episode is on the 28th of August. Super excited. We actually filmed it in 2022. And then the strikes happened last year and it got pushed out. So I'm ecstatic that it's finally out.
Oh, nice. Congratulations. I'm sorry, this is off the cuff question, and I'm going to put you on the spot. How cool was it to work with Vince Vaughn?
I have to say, I met Vince Vaughn. I didn't get to work with him. However, I got to work with Zach Braff of Scrubs fame, Rob Delaney, who was actually Peter in Deadpool #2.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, yeah.
I'm sorry, when you said Peter in Deadpool 2, it's like, I'm sorry. I remember him as, hi, I'm Peter. So what's your superpower, son? I don't have any. You know?
Yeah, just thought it'd be a fun weekend. Yeah. Yeah, so it's nice working with them. So my part is flashback scenes, so that's what I'm a part of. But yeah, he's also one of the producers of the series itself, and he was on there, and he was super nice to talk to.
Oh, that is so cool. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I am.
Me too.
Now, I've done some research. One of your past interviews that you mentioned that there was one particular commercial that you've always wanted to work on. It was the 4-imprint commercial. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. I've used 4-imprint, doing comic books as long as I have. We've used 4-imprint for a lot of the merchandises that, we've had for promoting Kickstarters and actually doing shows, whatever. But to actually be able to be in a SAG commercial for 4-imprint was like, a check mark for me. And I was so we shot that in January. It came out in March. And I always get a kick. My friends will message me and like, are you in a 4-imprint? Yes, I am in a 4-imprint commercial. That's so cool. I'm like, I know.
I'm going to, just for listeners, because I've seen some of the 4-imprint commercials, but which one are you in? Which commercial?
So I'm in one of the new ones where I'm the dad and I fixed a ceiling fan and my daughter is like, are you sure? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to work. No problem. And she's like, are you 4-imprint sure? And then everything blows up. And obviously I don't do the job and I blow up the house basically.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Oh, that's so cool, Austin. All right. When I see that again, I'm going to tell my wife, oh my God, I talked to that guy. All right. Now, Austin, did I miss anything from any of your comic book works or movies, that you want listeners to check out?
No, not really. I mean, there are things that I've booked this year coming out next year that are big that I'm under NDA and I can't talk about.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah, I just, it's funny. The strike was like one of the worst things that could have happened for us actors and directors and everything. So that's why I kind of decided to take a step back and kind of reevaluate how I wanted to approach it as an actor and a director. And so far, once the strike's been done, it's been kind of, knock on wood, it's been fantastic. So we got a lot of good stuff. Unfortunately, I can't really talk about it right now.
Well, that's great. That's understandable. No, but thank you very much. All right. Yeah. Now, where can where can listeners follow you on social media?
Well, listeners can find me on the following social media spots. For some reason, my wife is that my phone?
Yes.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. Actually, let's let James, Austin, let's put it this way. Your phone goes off because this kind of makes sure that you don't spoil the ending of A Killer and the Dead.
That's very true.
That's what it is.
Yes. So again, your question one more time. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So where can listeners follow you on social media?
For people that want to just know general things about me, they could just honestly Google my name and they can find out back history. They can find me on the old people Facebook, the cool new people Instagram, and also on YouTube. I'm not on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. And I tried TikTok and I got embarrassed and I just couldn't do it. I failed.
No. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Now, before we continue the interview, I want to give a big shout out to James Aquilone. He's the publisher of Monstrous Books and a friend of the podcast. James helped us out. James helped set up this interview. So James, thank you very much. Also, I'm gonna ask. So how do you know? Do you want to give a shout out to James?
Yeah. James is a huge thank you to James. I'm so thankful that he's helping me with the campaign. His stuff is with Monstrous is just fantastic. We met last year at Spooky Empire. We were doing panels together of all
Oh,
things.
that's nice.
Yeah, so we got to talking comic books, and the artists that work on some of his books that I've known, and I said, I'd love to chat with you, maybe work with you on a campaign sometime soon. He's like, well, just let me know and we'll get something done. So I was actually able to hit him up. He has the time, and here we are. So yeah, he's a rock star.
Yes, he is, and I'm gonna say in the last 2 or 3, he's done a lot. He's won a lot of awards, which is great. Yeah.
Well worth it.
All right, let's just jump in. A Killer and the Dead.
Yeah.
Now, what is this awesome story about? I've read the premise. It's amazing. It's great.
It's whenever I try to write stories, horror is kind of like a big thing with me. I've always enjoyed it, and slasher films like Friday the 13th and Halloween and all them. Growing up, staple. Slasher films were big. And then zombies, it's funny, like they scared the heck out of me as a kid, but as I got older, I enjoyed, the Romero films and then, Snyder's films, and trying to find something interesting in the genres is a daunting task, but I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if you have a slasher story that is going on in the world of a zombie apocalyptic event?
Mm-hmm.
Talk about stress, right?
Yes.
From all different angles. So that's kind of the premise of it. You have these people, they're trying to escape from an unstoppable killer, and they get helped by the undead, but for how long? Because, and then it turns into more of a survivalist sort of thing. So that's kind of like that's the basic of the story.
Mm-hmm. This is so cool. Okay, so we've already talked about that. This is, and correct me if I'm wrong. It started off kind of like as a short horror film. So when did you direct this movie? And so forth. And
so we actually did it during the middle of the pandemic, of all things. But we were lucky enough that where we shot it, they cleaned and they sanitized almost daily. So when we went and did it, we had to make sure that, we had our vaccines and we had tested ahead of time. And we shot it for 2 days straight, which was nice. And, it was at one location. It was a big, big warehouse. We were actually able to get everything done that we wanted to get done. Not to the full extent of the exterior stuff that I wanted, because we couldn't get a lot of people together. So the story that I wanted to do wasn't exactly what I could do in the film itself. So that's why I decided, now that we've got a lot of good movement with the film itself, we're looking to do a feature of that in order to tell a little bit more of the story as an encapsulated, period in the film. A comic book would be the great way to do it, which is why I decided to do the Kickstarter, because it fills in more before the film and a little bit after the film, and kind of, fleshes the whole thing out.
That's really nice. One question. Where can listeners check out the short film? Because I try to look for it on the internet.
So right now we just have the trailer. For the Kickstarter, those that can back it, you can actually, one of the tiers is actually getting the film, a digital download you can send to you and get some other digital swag. We're allowing those people to have first looks on the film itself before actually put it out for the broader audience to watch. So the only way to see the film right now is honestly by, supporting the campaign, and it's one of the great rewards we're able to do for it.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Let's talk about who are your characters? I'm going to start off with describe the killer. Now in the movie, he's played by Johnny Shirley. Is that correct?
Yeah, Johnny Shirley. He was a former wrestler. He wasn't with WWF, but he was one of the minor league of wrestling. He was a professional wrestler, but he was more minor league. He worked with all the big greats, and I think he had some sort, doing what you're doing, you get hurt, and he just wasn't able to do it. So he became a comedian. He was running circuits as a comedian, then got into acting. And it's funny, he lives in Orlando. We kind of bumped into each other, and I go, oh, I could use you for something. And then when I thought of The Killer, I go, there hasn't been someone with his body type as a killer, and he's so imposing. I said, this is perfect to me. The character, the killer character, a little background on him, as you'll find out, is that he was once a teacher, and he got laid off because the town that they live in is very depressed. So he goes to work at the one major company. It's a big pharmaceutical chemical company, and he works there. And that's all I can say because that will ruin the rest of the story. But there you go.
Oh, that's so cool. Now, I'm not going to ask you anymore because I want to read it. If it's in the comic book, I want to read it.
Right.
But for listeners, the killer, and like you said, he's this huge, imposing man.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm also going to mention too, which was kind of nice, and if you go to the Kickstarter website for A Killer in the Dead, there's already the artwork on how the killer looks, but he's this imposing man, and he's heavy set too as well. He's got this huge.
Yeah. So I didn't want a big muscular sort of guy.
Yeah.
Most killers are kind of like that. So he's just, he's more of a heavyset. He's a very heavyset husky. He's like 6'2", literally.
Yeah.
He's really like 6'2" to 6'4". He's just a really big guy.
And I take it he's going to be kind of like, I take it he's going to be very fast because people are going to go, oh my God, that huge guy, he's not going to move, but he could, I'm sure he's going to be like the Kingpin where it's like, you think the Kingpin is this big fat guy, but it's like, whoa, he's just.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that. That's the thought process behind, the Kingpin is a perfect example of the type of villain, killer character that I was thinking about.
Oh my, yeah. And then, where did you come up with the idea for his mask? That's so cool.
Okay, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. So the black, it's a big, scary looking. Originally, it was supposed to be like this screaming sort of mask.
Mm-hmm.
But when we came time to actually try to find a sort of mask that worked, we couldn't really find anything. So I actually just made it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a big circle. There's red outlines on that in the eyes, and that's kind of how we came out to do it. It's different from what other killer masks that you've kind of seen before.
Yes.
From far away, it's really spooky. Up close, the details really pop out and it makes it even creepier.
Mm-hmm. Because and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it kind of looks a little bit like a clown mask. But I like the mouth part where it's all blacked out.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a clown mask, but it's kind of not like a clown mask.
Yes.
It's very ambiguous, so people can have different interpretations of what they think it is.
Yes. Okay. And then his weapon of choice.
Yes, the serrated knife.
Cool.
Yeah. That honestly was the happy accident. The one of the special effects people, I said, can you have any knives you can kind of bring? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got a cool one. So we brought this massive thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I just made it. I make props. I'm like, this is just incredible. And I'm like, perfect. That's what we're going to be using. Because it looks so good on film. It just, it looked absolutely incredible. And it's not a normal looking sort of knife. It's very different. So I thought that'd be pretty cool.
Yes, because like in Halloween, basically Mike Myers just uses a kitchen knife and Jason basically used a machete. So but the killer in this comic book, his knife is like, holy cow, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And he does that creepy shush sound before he kills somebody. Yeah. I did that specifically because he worked as a teacher.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And one of the things teachers do is for young kids, they're always telling them to be quiet. Shh, be quiet.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
So that's kind of like a tick of his.
Mm-hmm.
to me. That's one of his ticks. So that's a creepy thing. You hear the sound, you don't know what's coming from, you hear, and then he kills you. And yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Now, listeners, I have to preface this because if I ask Austin this question, you guys think I'm just already creepy and weird. Now, the killer to me is like the ultimate Doctor Doom in the ultimate Fantastic Four storyline that introduces the Marvel zombies. Now, Ultimate Doom, when he's transported into the ultimate zombie world, basically he just lets loose. He's like, there's no laws that's gonna hold me. These people, these quote unquote heroes are dead. I can rip the thing's arm off, and I'm not gonna face consequences. Now, does the killer in your story let loose on the zombies in this story?
Oh yeah, no, he does. Yeah, you see that towards the end of the film and the comic book. You'll see that. Yeah, that's how well, I don't want to say more.
No,
But
yeah,
he does. Yeah, he does.
Okay. Now your other characters, like who is Dennis? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. In the movie, he is played by Brian Allred. So who is Dennis?
Yeah. All right. So Dennis, there's supposed to be 5 survivors, but we ended up only having 3 because with COVID. So Brian, he is neighbor of Nick's character, and they were just trying to escape. They were in a car. It crashed, and then they end up running into Heather's character, the female. And it was just happenstance that our 2 heroes bust out of the warehouse right when they're there. So they they're basically just next door neighbors. Now the Heather character, she's a social worker. And she works for Halfway Home, and her, some of her charges kind of came in. This is in the feature, but she has people come in. One of them was tripping out. Drug rehab is a big thing, and then they turn out to be zombies, and she escapes, and she's lucky to bump into them because 2 of her coworkers were with her, and they both get killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then also too, you already mentioned one of this actress. Michaela.
Yeah.
Now she plays Matt. Now, she won an award for her role in this film, right?
Yeah. Maddie won. Yeah, for the role of Maddie. So she's the tougher out of the 2. So Maddie and Jenny, they're cousins.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and they're single parents. Both of them are addicted to drugs. Drug is a big prevalent thing in the town. It's kind of taken over everything. People don't have, they've lost jobs. They're kind of, there's homeless people. There's a drug epidemic. That's kind of one of the setting of the town itself. So when people go missing, people don't think too much about it. When more people go missing, they're like, okay, we need to figure it out. So there's Richie, there's Maddie, and then there's Jenny. In the comic book, there's Richie. And his brother and Jenny's sister and Maddie's mom all go missing. So Richie's the one who's trying to find the brother because he had talked to him because the brother was looking for helping Jenny and Maddie. Long story. Anyway, brother was trying to help. He goes missing. They're trying to find, and that's the start of the comic book. And that's where you meet the killer.
Oh, that's so cool. Austin, thank you very much. All right.
Yep.
So I'm going to start asking, how did you team up with, I'm going to try to pronounce your artist name, Eder Messiah?
So Eder I've known for about 10 plus years.
Oh, okay.
Him working for Marvel and everything like that. I've, working for what I'm doing. We tried to collaborate on something in the past and it just never quite worked out. But we've always been friendly, kept in touch. And I always said, hey, we should work on something sometime. Let's try to make that happen. And when I was planning on doing the comic book, he had posted that he had time. He was open to working on like a one shot or something. So as soon as I saw that, I said, so Eder, you remember that thing about us talking about us working together? Funny story. I need your help. And then he said, absolutely. So that's how we got started. The colorist, it's funny because they contacted me
Oh, okay.
because they knew Eder. They were friends with not friendly, but online friends.
Yes.
They both live in the same country, so they were familiar with each other. So that was a happy accident. And they
Hmm.
just worked out really good. And Nikki Sherman, who's my letterer, she has lettered a bunch of my stuff, and she started back on Stanley and the Snowman for Scout Comics.
Oh, yes. Hmm.
Yeah, she lettered the entire graphic novel for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she does great stuff.
Oh, okay. And then it, just a dumb question. Did you edit the book or did you have someone else edit it for you?
Oh, for the comic book?
Yes, for the comic book.
I'm going to see if James has time to edit. Otherwise, I have another editor to do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Now, listeners, I just want to touch base. Like, Austin mentioned Eder. He's known Eder for 10 years. Eder recently, he was an artist on Spider-Man: The Lost Hunt miniseries with J.M. DeMatteis. And also, too, Eder also worked on, I think, one issue on The Predator: The Last Hunt #3, that was written by Ed Brisson. And also, too, you can also see Eder's other work in something, I believe one of his other comics was called The Family Secret. So, yes, if you guys get a chance, please check that out. Okay, let's talk about stretch goals. I mean, I think like you have just the basic ones where it's just like, they can get a PDF copy, the hard copy, a premiere edition. Um,
So our goal is that okay. So rewards, our basic rewards are you can get a digital or physical copy
yes.
with Stan Yak cover. If you don't know who Stan Yak is a cover artist. He's done stuff for Image. His most notable stuff is The Last Ronin for IDW. He does a lot of
okay.
and it's colored by Robert Nugent. And Robert just became the interior colorist for Spawn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just announced at San Diego Comic-Con, so I'm very happy for Robert. He's good people. Yeah, and then the other cover artist we have is Stefani Rene. He's done a lot of covers for DC and Francisco Tomaselli. It's kind of so slow. He's done a lot of cover work for Marvel, like Spider-Man and X-Men and all that. So those are the 3 covers. So you can get physical different covers. You can get metal prints of the covers or of a Stefano Cardoselli. He's a Bram Stoker award-winning artist. You can get like that. You can get all the cool stuff. You can be drawn in the comic book if you want to, either a survivor or as a zombie or someone who gets killed by zombies. We got a good stuff. So to go back to stretch goals, the first stretch goal, once we reach 35, we get to 5,000. The first stretch goal to celebrate my first co-star role is a signed Bad Monkey merchandise, whether it's a still photo of me in the scene or actual Bad Monkey itself. We'll get that signed. And then the next stretch goals, we've got some cool cards that are done by Dave Jackson with it'll have a breakdown of who the character is, stats on it, and all that sort of thing, little origins. One will be for the killer, one's going to be for Jenny and Maddie, and then one's going to be for the actual zombies themselves, kind of info on the type of zombies and stuff there is.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then the next stretch goal, God willing, we get there is everyone gets a digital copy of my first film, Love, Hate, The Amazing Life of a Comic Book Artist. It's a 22 minute parody comedy where I played disgruntled comic book artist. I dug really deep for this, man. I did. And, we talk about, I grumble about cosplayers and all these different things. It's a lot of fun. And everyone will get a free copy of that to watch. Plus, you'll get behind the scene bloopers and interviews of all the cast.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now also to one of your I guess reward tier, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Reward tiers is, of course, you've got, like you've already mentioned,
Yep.
the movie bundle that includes the movie, a movie poster, and of course the comic.
Yep.
And also too, one of your other tiers is that there's a custom replica of the killer mask. You know, and then this.
Yeah, yeah. So we have the actual movie prop itself, the actual mask itself, but someone has already bid in, and that's gone.
Wow.
But we do have some replicas of the actual mask itself that we made. It's hand painted the whole 9 yards, just used in the actual film itself, and that's I think like 60, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the movie bundle, you got that bundle, and if you really want to be part of the movies and you want to, become an associate or an assistant producer for the film, you can. You can get those rewards too if you want.
That's so cool. Now, you've already, like you mentioned, that in one of your movies that you poke fun at cosplayers. Off the cuff question: how cool would it be next year, or sometime in the future, that someone comes up to your table with the killer mask?
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be so epic. That would be absolutely epic. I haven't had a lot. Like, I've had kids come up to me dressed as Stanley the Snowman, so that was extremely cool. And I just showered them with like free stuff when they do that. But yeah, having someone come up dress up as a killer would just be fantastic. I'd love it.
That'd be pretty cool. Okay. Now, if someone misses this campaign, and goes, "Oh my God, I didn't know that they made a comic book out of this." Would it be available on a website after all the books are mailed out and everything? Is it going to be, have you thought about that, or?
Yeah, so interesting. Kickstarter gives us late pledges or late backing. So we're doing that for another like 30 or so days. People are able to do that. Yes, people will be able to get copies of the book itself. And you were able to get that. I will have a website up. We'll have it made and all that promotional stuff probably in the next week or so. So they will be available for order.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because this one just seems like a self-contained story, a one-shot story. Correct?
The comic
Yes,
stuff?
the comic.
Yeah, we can expand either after or before if we wanted to do the series, but I think this itself really gets you excited for the feature film because it gives all the elements of what to expect for the feature itself. But it's a good standalone by itself comic book that all horror lovers, I think, will like. If you like slasher, if you like horror, I always joke, I'm like, if you like The Walking Dead, if if you like different horror TV shows, all that, this is for you.
I'm just, because the reason why I'm kind of poking at you is just because I'm kind of going, let's say 2-3 years from now, you're coming up with another great, you've done the feature, you're going, I want to expand, I want to see what else the killer does in this world. Any possibilities of, another story?
There could be. There's always that possibility. Yeah. I have ideas on the killer itself, and his origin story could allow the fact that he could always come back for future. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Now, what was the most fun or cool thing that you love writing this comic?
Oh, being able to expand and introduce the killer the way I wanted to. Because most killers have that grand opening. He's right here.
Yes.
Whereas this one, you're seeing parts of him before you really see him. Kind of like Jaws sort of thing.
Yes.
That's what I wanted. I didn't want to just like, oh, here he is. It's like little bits and pieces of him, and because you get to see who he is and what his lair is like.
Oh my
like
God.
within the first maybe 10 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So it introduces him, and you get to see all the carnage that he's brought beforehand, which asks you a question like, well, how did this happen? It's going to get you interested in what happened before all this. And then
Yes.
it gets you into the second world and the bigger world of the public event. I'm like, well, how did this happen?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, this comic book is going to hopefully raise a lot of interesting questions that people want answered. And then we'll see later on down the road if we're able to answer those. But this gives you a really good chunk and taste and gets you interested in the overall story.
Oh, this is so... Austin. Like I said, when James reached out to me and he sent out the kind of like the press release of the whole idea of a slasher and a zombie. Oh my God. It sounds so cool. And listeners, as I mentioned, I'm going to repeat again towards the end of the interview is that, this campaign is live. Please go to the Kickstarter website again and look up, A Killer and the Dead. There's already some preview pages and it looks great. It's just, oh, yes.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, no, the first 5 pages, they're lettered and it's the continuous first 5 pages.
Mhm.
So it gets you right into it.
All right. Austin, any conventions or bookstore appearances later this year? We're looking
Yeah,
forward.
actually, you can find me in a few weeks in Chicago at Fan Expo Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And then in Georgia in October, it's Jekyll and Hyde Con. And then after that, I got invited to go to Birmingham, England for a show, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to because I'm
No.
attached for a feature film.
Yeah.
I might be filming then. But then if time allows, maybe we got invited to San Francisco for Fan Expo. So then we'll go.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I've got maybe about 20 minutes left. Can I ask you just some off the cuff questions like like horror conventions? Like what was your best horror convention that you went to?
So there's a new horror convention here in Florida called Spookala.
Okay.
And they've just been around for a year. They get some amazing guests. They have great panels. It's not set up in a hotel. It's set up at the fairgrounds. It's a little bit more open. But yeah, I mean, the type of horror guests that you're able to get is really, really cool. So that's been the most interesting one I've gone to in the last maybe year. Spooky's always good. Spooky Empire's been around forever. And I love Pete. I know the owner. Great stuff. But yeah, for new stuff, Spookala's got some really cool. I'm looking forward to the next one. The next one I think is in October. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, okay. Like who are some of the convention celebrity horror guests that you've met? Like, have you run into Robert Englund? I don't even know if you've done convention.
Oh yeah, Robert Englund. I met him a long, long, long time ago. So what's interesting is when you're a guest, you get to go to the VIP after parties.
Oh,
you get to mingle with a lot of different. So met him. I've met all of the people who played Michael Myers over the years.
Oh, that's nice.
Really cool. Met Bruce Campbell, super nice.
Oh God, yes.
Went drinking and did selfies with people with Ted Raimi, so that was fun.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, there's been so many. Yeah, but yeah, Robert Englund was really, really cool. Oh God. I forget the guy's name, and I do apologize. He's in Shaun of the Dead, and I can't believe I can't remember his name. It's the guy. He does the monkey sounds, and oh my God, I forgot his name. Anyway.
Okay.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All your listeners are like, it's this guy. So I had a lovely chat with him. I'm a huge fan of his, but I don't remember his name at the top of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this. Anyway, he was super nice.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you very much for sharing that. And like I said, sorry, it's just like an off, excuse me, an off the cuff question. Sorry about that. Okay, 2 more questions. Have you and your family been to Hawaii?
Um, so I have cousins who live in Hawaii,
Oh, okay.
and my wife has a very good friend who lives in Hawaii. I have not gone to Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted to very much. I just have not had. Nick Frost.
No,
Sorry,
that's okay. All right. Yes. Yay.
that's the guy's name, Nick Frost. Sorry, editor. Yes, Nick
No,
Frost.
no. That's all right.
Anyway, have I gone to Hawaii? No, unfortunately, I have not. Is this something that we want to go to? Absolutely. And I'm hoping within the next year or so at the most that we will be going to Hawaii for a vacation.
Ah, it's gonna be nice. That's gonna be
Oh,
nice.
it's absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm. All right. Any closing words to our listeners?
Yeah, please, if you can, just take a look at the campaign and hopefully you like something and you're interested, you want to backing it. If not, maybe you have a friend or a
Yes.
family member or a dog that might be interested in said project and share it and like it. And yeah, I mean, any eyes on it is really great. We've got a great group of creators and they're fantastic. And I'm thankful to have them on board for this thing. Doing comic books for as many years as I have, it's always fun working with new people. And I'm thankful being able to work with Eder and with Marcos. They're really nice guys. They're really talented up and coming artists. So it's fun being able to see what they come up with and what their vision of my story compared to what I did on film is just mind blowing to me. So yeah, if and thank you for taking a minute to listen to this. Thank you for having me on. This is just great. And yeah, this is a blessing. I appreciate it.
No, Austin, mahalo. Thank you, and Hawaiian. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to interview you. I wish you all the success with your Kickstarter, A Killer and the Dead. And I also want to give a big mahalo to James for help setting up this interview. Now, if you are a new comic book reader or a lifelong comic book reader who loves horror comics, please check out Austin's Kickstarter, A Killer and the Dead. Now, this campaign is live, and the campaign ends on August 29th. And Austin, and thank you that, you know what, I'm going to say thank you that you mentioned about, if you have friends or family members, because, and I'm being serious on this, it's just, listeners, as Austin said, if you have a friend who loves horror comics or a family member who loves horror comics, please check out this campaign. And please, consider backing this and giving this copy, to your friend as a gift. It's kind of like, when we were little kids sharing comics. Yeah, that'd be so cool. Now, I want to thank Drew, the co-host of Comics for Fun and Profit, for putting this episode together. Drew, thank you very much for all your hard work behind the scenes. And if you are a new listener, please check out new episodes of Comics for Fun and Profit that comes out every Saturday. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening to this episode. Until next time, guys. Aloha.
Our LCS is Cowabunga Comics, Lake Country, Wisconsin's best pop culture destination for new comics, back issues, gaming, retro video games, vinyl, and figures. Give them a call, 262-569-9999. Check them out online at cowabungacomics.com or follow them on Twitter at Incredicow. They are our LCS, and we utilize their deep discount mail order service to bring Oconomowoc, Wisconsin closer to us. They'll take care of you. Tell them Drew and Kyle sent you. Say hi to Eric and James from us. If you need an LCS, you can't go wrong with Cowabunga Comics.